talking about Afghanistan. Afghanistan is a country known by name by many Americans, however not many can point it out on a map. The country is located on the Asian continent on the Central Asian and Southeast region. The country is landlocked, being bordered by countries such as Pakistan, Tajikistan, Iran, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, and China. It is the 41st largest country in the world, and its capital city is Kabul, and it's also its largest city. Something very significant about Afghanistan is its terrain. The Hindu Kush Mountains, running northeast to southwest, divide the country into three major regions. These regions include the Central Highlands, which are part of the Himalayas, which include 2/3 of the country, the Southwestern Plateau, which is 1/4 of the land, and the smaller Northern Plains area, which contains the country's most fertile soil. The terrain in Afghanistan is also marked by land elevation. Land elevation slopes from northeast to southwest in the country. To the northwest and southwest, there are no mountain barriers to neighboring countries. However, in the west and southwest, there are plateaus and deserts that merge into those of Iran. Afghanistan is also located on the Eurasian tectonic plate. The northeastern Afghanistan region, including Kabul, is situated in a geologically active area for earthquakes. The greater part of the northern border and a small section of the border with Pakistan are marked by rivers. The longest border in Pakistan is the Durand Line. This accounts for the country's entire southern and eastern border with Pakistan. The shortest border is China's Xinjiang Line. It is 76 kilometers. The border with Pakistan runs eastward through Iran from the Shanghai Hills and southern end of the Rajasthan Desert. It then follows a regular northeastern course before reaching the Durand Line. This continues on through the mountainous region of the Khyber Pass area. Beyond that, it rises to the crest of the Hindu Kush. Because the country is such a mountainous region and includes many deserts, there are many environmental issues going on currently in Afghanistan. These issues include limited fresh water, overgrazing, which is extensive grazing for extended periods of time, deforestation, desertification, which is dry land becoming more increasingly arid over a period of time, air pollution, and water pollution.
The most widely used technology in Afghanistan are unmanned aerial vehicles, also known as drones, and are aircrafts either controlled by pilots from the ground or follow pre-programmed missions. While there are dozens of different types of drones, they basically fall into two categories: those that are used for surveillance purposes and those that are armed with missiles and bombs. Recently, more U.S. Armed Forces personnel are being trained as drone operators than Air Force pilots, making drones suddenly become the central element of U.S. military strategy. The benefits of using drones in Afghanistan are that they are deadly accurate, they've proved to be very effective at targeting and killing Taliban leaders with very minimum civilian casualties, they are relatively inexpensive weapons, and their use helps prevent boots-on-ground combat and therefore decreases the risks of U.S. casualties.
The theory and practice of warfare has evolved with amazing speed since Al-Qaeda's attack on mainland America in September 2001, which triggered the beginning of the Afghanistan War. The war can be discerned into three separate phases. The first phase was brief, lasting just 2 months, and involved ground invasion followed by military occupation. The use of U.S. B-52s against Taliban forces caused them to disperse throughout the countryside and away from cities. The Taliban were not defeated, they just simply declined to fight on U.S. terms. Instead, they redefined the war, preserving their forces and regrouping. They realized that occupying cities was not the key to winning over Afghanistan. Staking out in the countryside was. The second phase lasted from 2002 until 2008 and was marked by the modest goals for Afghanistan that the Bush administration had put into place. The goal of Phase 2 was to harass al-Qaeda from bases in Afghanistan, maintain control of cities and logistic routes, and accept limits of U.S. interests and power. The U.S. intended to establish an Afghan government, regardless of how ineffective it might be, to serve as a symbolic core. They planned very limited operations because they realized that U.S. forces were neither going to be able to impose a political solution on Afghanistan nor create a coalition large enough to control the entire country. The third phase began in 2009 when U.S. President Barack Obama decided to implement a strategy that was more aggressive in Afghanistan. He did this by temporarily increasing the troop presence in Afghanistan. The larger force was used to implement a strategy of protecting the population from Taliban attacks. They did this by extending a security bubble and placing troops wherever security was needed, and supporting efforts to reintegrate insurgents into Afghan society. The strategy came coupled with an exit strategy for U.S. forces based on a negotiated settlement with the Taliban and a resulting coalition government.
Lone Survivor is a 2013 American war film written and directed by Peter Berg and starring Mark Wahlberg, Taylor Kirch, Emile Hirsch, Ben Foster, and Eric Bana. The film is based on the 2007 non-fiction book of the same name by Marcus Luttrell with Patrick Robinson. Set during the war in Afghanistan, Lone Survivor dramatizes the failed United States Navy SEAL counterinsurgent mission Operation Red Wings, during which a four-man SEAL reconnaissance and surveillance team was tasked to track down and kill Taliban leader Ahmad Shah.
Hey, Mikey. I'm not ready to punch that time card. Do it.